Modern engines rarely brake when driving at full power on the highway. Instead, they die a slow, quiet death while idling. We repair about 80 engines here every month, and the damage pattern is almost always identical. Bearing damage caused by lack of lubrication. The topic of oil pressure is often hotly discussed, but luckily oil pressure is not a political opinion, it's pure physics. And because in physics there's only one truth, we have built a test experiment today to finally answer the question: how much oil pressure is needed to make an engine truly safe? We will show you why manufacturers are forced to develop engines right at the limit, why physical forces work against your oil, and why the pressure set by the manufacturers is often just barely enough. Until it isn't anymore. Before we start the experiment, we must understand why this problem exists at all. An engine developer today faces a conflict that is almost impossible to solve. He has to balance three things: the customer's wish for power, the customer's wish for longevity, and the strict laws regarding emissions and carbon dioxide. To reach the emission goals, friction in the engine must be reduced to the absolute minimum. This means narrower piston rings, thinner oil and smaller bearing journals. And the most important point, the oil pump is designed to be so small that it delivers exactly as much pressure as it physically just necessary. Every tenth of a bar more means more resistance and uses more fuel. This saves carbon dioxide, but it robs the engine of any safety reserve. Let's look at what this means in practice. We have prepared a crankshaft assembly here. We spin it from outside at 1250 RPM, a typical speed just above idle. The oil is fed from outside and we can control the pressure very precisely by hand. Thanks to transparent 3D printed half shells, we can see exactly what happens. Here the first physical law comes into play: centrifugal force. Imagine the crankshaft is spinning like a wheel. The oil inside the shaft is thrown outward by spinning, away from the center, which is exactly where we need to pump it. To get the oil from the main bearing into the connection rod bearing, we have to push it against this centrifugal force. Mathematically, we would need about 0.1 bar to overcome this force. We calculated that with this formula. But theory is one thing. Let's see what reality says. Los geht's! We see about 0.3 to 0.4 bar, so in practice we need much more pressure than in theory. Why? Because of leakage. An engine is not sealed tight. The oil escapes at the sides of the main bearing and escapes at the connection rod bearings. Even with new bearings, pressure gets lost. In an engine with 100,000 km on it, the bearing clearance is even larger and the leakage increases massively. But the bearings are not the only thieves in the system. We often forget the biggest users. Let's take the piston crown cooling for example. These are nozzles that spray oil directly under the pistons. They are normally closed at idle speed, but oftentimes one or more will fail and stay open. We already prove how dramatically this affects oil pressure in an earlier experiment, which you can see here. Since the original test is in German, we will show the clip and will comment via voiceover. Here we see a TFSI engine that is being supplied with oil pressure from the outside. Pay close attention to the manometer. As soon as the oil spray nozzles open, you hear the click, the system pressure drops immediately. These are basically controlled leaks. The oil simply flows away. We see right away that the pressure crashes massively. That's the reason why nozzles are closed at idle. On top of that, there are hydraulic chain tensioners and camshaft adjusters They also need oil pressure, not just to lubricate, but to exert mechanical force. If the pressure is too low, the chain stretches, the timing is no longer correct and the engine rattles. That is often the first warning signal even before the engine brakes. But what does all this mean for the cylinder head? The head is more often than not the highest point in the engine and the farthest away from the oil pump. It is at the very end of the food chain. If we only have the minimum necessary pressure down at the pump and we lose pressure along the way through main bearings, connection rod bearings, spray nozzles and chain tensioners, then almost nothing arrives at the top anymore. Only with a much higher starting pressure does the oil safely reach the camshaft bearings. Let's summarize. First, physics. Centrifugal force works against the flow of oil. Second, every bearing and every nozzle is a leaking point that lowers the oil pressure. Third, the engine gets older and wears out. The need for pressure gets higher, but the oil pump only delivers the minimum from back when it was new, because of how it was built, mainly to save fuel and pass the hard test for economy. That is the reason why we say an engine needs a reserve. Our measurements and experience from fixing thousands of engines show to be safe at idle with warm oil, even if a nozzle gets stuck or a bearing has a little more clearance, we need about 1.3 bar minimum oil pressure. Anything under that is living on the edge. I do not want to sell you anything right now, but I want to give you some advice. Do not blindly trust that warning light will turn on in the cockpit. The oil pressure warning switches often only turn on at 0.5 or 0.6 bar, if there is one at all. By then the engine is usually almost finished. Measure your oil pressure. Drive the engine until it's warm, let it run in idle and look at the values. If you are under 1.3 bar, you should act. Be it by checking the pump, using thicker oil, or if you want to be totally safe, using an upgrade oil pump to bring back this safety reserve. Your engine will thank you with longevity.